Hello, folks. This is the Paranormal Truth Seeker. And hey, I just want to kind of go over a couple things. I get asked this question quite a bit as well by a lot of people, especially that are getting started in what we'll call the paranormal field, whether they're out there for their own curiosity or they want to document something. I'm just going to share with you some of the basic tools. Now, one of them, obviously, I'm not going to point out. It's going to be a camera. But yeah, that's something you're going to want. And the problem with cameras is they have a lot of potential creation of things like artifacts and give you some false evidence. But that can be with a lot of equipment. But hey, before we get too far into this, make sure that you like and subscribe and comment on this channel if you would. Again, this lets me know that you people are interested and you want to hear what I have to say. And also, too, in the comments, it kind of gives me an idea on things you want to cover. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to get jumping right into this. Okay. So up there's Harvest that we have with Pros Investigations. I started that organization back in about 2005 or 4, after 2004, just before the big ghost hunting craze came about. And back then, we kept it pretty simple. So a lot of things have come out, a lot of advancements in technology and new equipment. I mean, we're just seeing stuff all the time come about. It's pretty amazing. But you know what? You don't have to have a big budget and a lot of money to get out and investigate. And so I'm quite often asked, what equipment would you get if you were starting out? And I tell people, look, when I started, it was real simple. About the only thing we had were flashlights and tape recorders, and you might have a compass, but it's gotten pretty sophisticated since then. So let's just jump right into it. So one of the things you see hanging up there is a compass. Now, you can use that in place of an EMF detector. The good thing about a compass is it generally, unless it's very, very, very high, EMF, the radio waves isn't going to affect the compass very well. Neither will the electrical, so it's a magnetic. Now, if we go back and study history, we'll find that a lot of people reported these things happening in the magnetic field, so that's why we use EMF detectors. So a lot of things out there can give EMF detectors false readings. There's a lot of cell tower activity out there, ham radio operators, CB operators, fire, police, emergency services, and those things. So they throw out random signals. Sometimes repeaters just identify, and you may pick that up on an EMF detector if you're in the right line of sight, so to speak. So a lot of things out there. So let's go ahead and get started. You can see there's a flashlight up there. That's a hand kind of a squeeze flashlight I carry as a backup flashlight. So you definitely want to have a good flashlight. I always carry two on me in case something happens to one. But if you were to ask me the most important piece of equipment, I'm going to say is an open piece of mind. Of course, that's not really a piece of equipment, but have an open mind, be subjective. Any of the evidence that you collect, be willing to say, no, that's not good evidence, throw it out. At Pros, we had a saying, and it was pretty simple. If in doubt, we threw it out. And trust me, we threw out a lot of good evidence. If you'll go back and look at some of the pictures that I have on my website, you'll see some of the ones I've thrown out, and you'd probably be kind of surprised. But then when you see why we threw them out, I think you'd understand. So, critique your evidence. Another thing I want to point out, don't go investigating in places you don't have permission to be there. If you get arrested, that's on you. Just don't do it. So, be safe and make sure you have the right equipment. So let's go ahead and get started. All right. So if I were going to pick out several pieces of equipment and not spend a lot of money, I'd look at a good voice recorder. Now, I realize that cell phone will do a lot of the stuff that you see here on the table. It'll do some of it, but it won't do all of it. But I would definitely recommend you get a good recorder for recording EVP. Again, I've talked about EVP. It is one of the subjects of the paranormal that has been well studied by scientists, and they don't know where those voices come from, and they don't know who they are. We can speculate they're ghosts, demons, angels, whatever. So, with that said, next piece of equipment, maybe a ghost box. I'm just throwing that up there. If you can find one or a like piece of equipment, great. It's not necessary. Looking at EMF, we were discussing EMF. This is one of the EMF detectors we use. There's several out there. I would definitely recommend getting something that you don't have to shine a flashlight on, that is self-illuminating, so if you're working in the dark. Another piece of equipment perhaps is something to read temperatures. Now, I used to use a compass for a long time that also had a temperature gauge on it, so it would tell me kind of what the temperature was. I've actually been in places where I watched the temperature drop as much as 20 degrees for no known reason. Kind of scary when that happens. But yeah, if you can afford something like that, pick that up as well. If you don't, look for one of those compasses. It's a cheap man's way to go to get started. Okay, something you're going to definitely want to carry too is a lighter. A couple of reasons there. One, if you feel a draft, you're not sure where that draft is coming from, you use a lighter. If something happens to your flashlight, well, If you're inside, normally you can use a lighter to kind of light the way up. Doesn't work so well outside in the wind, but hey, keep one for finding drafts. Just simple tool. A good flashlight. At least carry two on you, have two available, and make sure you got plenty of batteries for anything that you have. And then again, I've got thermal. So those are the things that I typically carry. But if I had to carry a couple of the items, if I were just starting, it would definitely be the voice recorder, probably a camera, but I'd want to understand how artifacts like orbs are created 99.999% of the time or more. Dust, insects, something in the air that's creating it. So learn what creates artifacts. I've got some interesting artifacts on my website. EMF detector, if you can pick one up, a good flashlight. So those are some of the tools. Now, there's other things that you want to do as well. As over the time you begin to collect equipment, you're going to want to get a nice bag or something that you can keep all your gear in. I highly recommend that. I also recommend as you pick up more gear, again, a vest, that's what that is, hanging on the wall, in case you didn't know. And that way you can carry your batteries on you and all the equipment you're going to need as you need it, and it's available without having to go back to your bag. So, I wanted to share a magical way to make ghosts appear. Maybe nobody's ever shown you this before, but hey, you learned it here first. So I'm going to show you by using the coffee cup there how to make a ghost appear with magic words. So watch. Okay, we're going to use simple words and a magic potion, and we're just going to use a simple word that everybody's heard before. Abracadabra. And let's see what happens. I think it's starting to appear. You'll see. Uh-oh, it's coming about, folks. And there you go. And that's how you make ghosts appear. So, I hope you enjoyed this video. I like to be a little humorous at times, so there's a little humor for you. Got that cup at, well, where it says the Crescent Hotel. If you ever get a chance to go visit there, I'd go. The ghost hunters went there. They did capture some evidence. I would tell you to watch that video if it's still online, and you're going to see they caught something on the thermal. Well, if you notice my brand marker at the bottom of my videos, I was able to reproduce that, so that's what that image is. So with all that said, doesn't matter what equipment you have or you don't have, just use good common sense. When in doubt, you don't know, throw it out, and that's the best advice I can give you. So again, keep it simple. Get the tools that you need, have them available. A voice recorder, a flashlight, something to detect EMF. The reason I use EMF is not to necessarily detect ghosts, as some people think. I use EMF to detect high areas of EMF that could possibly cause people to experience things that is influenced by EMF. So I would highly advise you to investigate that on your own and come to some conclusions and see what high EMF levels can do to people in certain environments. So with that said, I'm going to go ahead and call into this video. And again, thank you. Comment, like, subscribe, and we will catch you later. Be safe.